Well, since the Jews were the first ones with the Bible, which would be the Torah, it seems like God, the God of the Quran, is building like this conversation. And I think like the essential argument here is that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all part of one branch. And this is why it would be called like an Abrahamic faith. Before I like looked into these religions, I thought that like Islam was so much different than Christianity and so much different than Judaism. It turns out it's like relatively the same. From a characters, like the characters being in here, which would be the prophets, it seems like the difference between Judaism and Christianity is like one guy, which is Jesus. And the difference between Judaism and Islam is two guys, Jesus and Muhammad. So everybody else they agree on. So they have the same presumptions in regards to the religion. Like, for example, if you move a little bit forward, we're not going to get there yet, but if you move a little bit forward, you'll see like Ayah 49, remember how we delivered you from the people of Pharaoh, who inflicted you with dreadful torment, slaughtering your sons and keeping your women. Like, this is a religion that's always referencing the prophets of the past and the people of the past. So like the Jewish religion seems to be an intricate part of the Islamic understanding of the world. I hope that like kind of made sense. So we'll start at 40 and then 40, 41, 42, and then I'll go to 44 and we can kind of like have a conversation about it and let's like brainstorm some ideas. So 40 goes, "O children," the reason why is because there's a reference. "O children of Israel, remember my favors upon you. Fulfill your covenant, and I will fulfill mine. And stand in awe of me alone." It's literally the same thing that the Torah would say. Like one God. I know Jews believe in one God, and they believe in Moses, essentially, which is very, very similar. "Believe in my revelations, which confirm your scriptures." So the Quran doesn't seem like it's a new religion. This is why like Muslims would call themselves reverts, I think, or at least at least this is why Muslims will say like all of these. This is what they say. Actually, sorry, this is why Muslims say that all the other prophets were Muslim, not because they spoke Arabic and they prayed 5 times a day. It's because being Muslim is an idea, and the idea is that you're in full submission to God. You're in full submission to the creator of the universe, the source in which you came from. And being in full submission to the source in which you came from comes with a idea that there is species specific behavior in which we should live by. And if you look at like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, it seems like the religions are so similar. I saw a video of English women from 100 years ago covering their heads. And whether or not like you believe that a woman should cover their head or not, it's like this is not the conversation for that. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating how similar the religions are, as opposed to like the pagan Roman religion, which is totally different than like the Christian religion. This is what saying makes sense. So, "O children of Israel, remember my favors upon you. Fulfill your covenant, and I will fulfill mine. And stand in awe of me alone. Believe in my revelations, which confirm your scriptures. Do not be the first to deny them or trade them for a fleeting gain." So I'm assuming, I haven't really gone through the Old Testament too much, but I'm assuming from this, like the context would show that he's just reminding you, like, hey, this is the same religion, it's the same God, it's the same book, it's the continuation. And like based off the comments on my last video, it seems like everyone's saying like the Quran is like the final testament, which doesn't negate the existence of the Torah and the New Testament. All it does is say like, hey, there were some corrections that need to be made because of the broken telephone problem. The broken telephone problem is basically like, look, how do you know that the scriptures of the Torah, the Old Testament and then the New Testament, how do you know they weren't changed over time? Whereas the Quran, it was like written down relatively immediately, and because people always change words. Like, remember when you were in kindergarten, you played like broken telephone with like 20 people? You wouldn't have the words anymore. It would be like totally different words. Okay, where were we? Believe my revelations, confirm your scriptures. Do not be the first to deny them or trade them for a fleeting gain. And be mindful of me, the source of the universe. Do not mix truth with falsehood or hide the truth knowingly. Establish prayer, pay the alms tax, and bow down with those who bow down. So pray with people. And I think that this is like helping people establish a community. Like if you go to a synagogue or a church or a mosque, one thing If you look at it, it's like there's a centralized community based off of a broader belief system. So, and I think the cool thing about these religions is it doesn't really matter where you're from. Like you could be a Muslim from like Afghanistan, you could be a Muslim from India, you can be a Muslim from Bosnia, you can be a Muslim from Turkey, and you could be a Muslim from Morocco. But they seem to have like a connection based off of a united shared belief system. Respect everyone's culture, but they have a belief system. And the belief system is like the same thing that God is saying that he told God of the Quran is saying that he said to the people of the Torah, which is believe my revelations, do not be the first to deny them or trade them for a fleeting gain, be mindful of me, do not lie, which is mix truth with falsehood, or hide the truth. So don't lying, basically it's saying do not lie, and do not lie through the lie of omission, which is like hiding the truth. Establish the prayer, which so it's saying to the Jews, establish the prayer by being essentially by being Muslim, by being in submission to God. This is like the thing that you have to do to be in submission to God. Pay the alms tax and bow down with those who bow down. Now, 44 is interesting because it's like calling people out specifically. And I think that it's like, yeah, they're using the people of the book as a question here, but I think that this is like a question for all of us. And I'll read it. 44. Do you preach righteousness and fail to practice it yourself? Although you read the scripture, do you not understand? And seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, it is a burden except for the humble. Okay, so I want to go over that. Like, do you preach righteousness and fail to practice it yourself? And I think that this is something that makes me nervous that I do. Like, one thing that makes me nervous is like I want to like discover this, and I think that it's important to be good. I think it's important not to lie. I think it's important not to cheat people. I think that the way you treat people is a representation of how you feel internally. And I think that if you feel bad, you'll treat people poorly. But I also think that if you treat people poorly, you'll feel bad. You know what I'm saying? So how should one behave? Like, if I was always like telling people like, you should do good, you should be good, and then I just didn't do any of those things, like, would I even be a good person? In other words, like, how important is it how you behave in private versus how you behave in public? And this is why, like, when I see people, and like, no offense to people, but when I see people wearing like religious clothes, I go, okay, well, yeah, you're wearing religious clothes. I don't think that has much to do with like how you are internally. Like, I've seen people who are religious and then they treat people poorly. I think it's important. I think like a good deed is how you treat others. And if we all came from one source, we all came from one soul, literally how you treat others is a representation of how you treat yourself. Because why would you treat people poorly if you felt good? Fundamentally, every human being needs love. Every human being is worthy of love and care, and to treat them properly. And so are you. Like, you should treat yourself properly. I also find it interesting here that it says, and seek help through patience and prayer. Why would prayer allow you to seek help? I thought about this for a while, and this is like my thought process on this. Tell me what you guys think about this. You can't have fear and have faith at the same time, because fear is a belief system. What are you afraid of? You're afraid of the future. So like, if you think about it, like in your life, you can take it away from like a religious perspective. Like, you think like, I'm not gonna get this job, or I'm not gonna do this, or I'm not gonna be able to be strong enough or good enough. Those are all fear things that run in your head. I would say that those are whispers from the devil, things that are like entering your mind, like, you're not good enough. It's like a negative way of thinking. But if you have faith in the future, how can you be fearful of it? So, and I'll get into these videos a little bit later, and seek help through patience and prayer. When you're praying, what are you doing? Essentially, you're speaking to the highest of creation and imagining what your life would be like and putting yourself in a mantra towards the good. I hope that made sense. Sometimes I get nervous that these videos aren't good, and like, whatever. I'll just keep throwing them out there. And even if it like speaks to one person in a positive way, I'm happy about that. Okay. Love you guys. Goodbye.